Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this ASUS ROG Strix SCAR 15. Alright, so the model number here is G533Q. There's the simplified model, and then the full model number is G533QS-DS96. Alright, so first thing we're going to be using is a PH1 or JS1 screwdriver to remove all the screws from the bottom. You want to keep the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I put them flat side down on my desk in the pattern I remove them, so just like that. Alright, and yeah, let's go ahead and remove all the screws. So we got 4 back here. It looks like 3 going along here, and then 4 more going along the front here. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove all these screws. If this video helps you out, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. If you can't help out that way, I have another, or if you could watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. I also have another channel called It's Been Reviewed and More. If you can subscribe to that one, that would help a lot. I need to get that to 1,000 subscribers, and that's kind of going really slow, so hopefully you guys can help out with that. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue getting all the screws out. It looks like all the screws here are the same size, and then the ones here are much shorter. So again, you don't want to mix them up, and then you can damage your computer if you put them in the wrong spot. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue removing all these screws. Alright, now that we got all the screws out, let's go ahead and see how we can pop the bottom cover off. Sometimes with these gaming ones, they have little cables that connects LEDs, so be very careful. I'm going to use my fingernails in the gap, and then I'm going to push with my thumb on the palm rest. You can see it's popping open. Make sure you don't push on the touchpad. Okay, so we're going to work our way over the side here, and then just continue working our way down. You can see now we got most of that popped open. We're going to carefully close this up, and then we're going to work our way over the side here. You want to go kind of slow, don't rush it because you don't want to end up breaking anything. You can see here it kind of like goes down that way and then goes here, so we gotta move down to the top of this vent piece to see if we can pop that out. And those clips are kind of being difficult, so let's go ahead and rotate and switch to the other side for now, and then we'll see if we can figure out the vents after. Okay, so again, we're just pulling this cover away and I'm sliding my fingernail in the gap. Obviously you can use pry tools. Okay, now we can go into the fan vent here. Okay, you can see it popped up a little bit. There we go. Okay, it's going around to the back. Same thing, just continue, get a pry tool or fingernails and just slide it in there. You can see how easily it's popping apart. Okay, let's see if we can now get this side or if it's still gonna be stuck. Okay, so same thing, let's see. Part of the problem is I cut this fingernail too short. You see, usually I leave my fingernails somewhat long for this kind of stuff. And yeah, all right. So what we're gonna do, since we got all the rest out, we should hopefully be able to carefully lift this up. Again, be careful just in case there are cables, and actually there's a cable attached under there. You can see that white cable. So we have to be very careful that we don't try and lift it up. Otherwise we'll tear that cable. So I'm gonna go from the back side here then, and then see if I can work my way around this way. Okay, this popped up a little, so now hopefully we can go under and unpop. There we go, it's working. And there we go. Okay, so now we got all the clips up. We're gonna have to carefully lift this away and take a look at underneath where that cable's going. Okay, so I think the easiest might be to lift it this way. Let's see. Yeah, so we carefully lift it up this way, and actually there's 2 cables here. So you want to be very careful here, okay? I'm going to put this like that so I can get a thumbnail just so people can see. There's a cable here and here, okay? So you don't want to just rip this out. There are little flip latches, okay? So let me do this real quick, okay? And then let me zoom in to kind of show you what these little flip latches look like. Okay, so there is one flip latch here. So we'll flip this latch. I use my fingernail. You see that black plastic piece? So just get in there, flip that up. All right, again, I cut this fingernail, so it's gonna be a little trickier than usual, but flip that latch up. Once that latch is up, you can see this cable will just kind of wiggle out. All right, same thing with the other side. There's a small flip latch here. Okay, so flip that latch up. Once you flip that up, wiggle and pull that out. And there we go. We got the two cables out. Okay, so it is a little bit dusty. Actually, it's really dusty. Look at that. See that fan? Oh my God, that's terrible. Okay, so I'm gonna actually clean that up real quick and then I'll be back. The way I clean that up is I use a toothbrush and then I just scrub it. I'll kind of show a little bit, so I'll hold it and I'll just scrub like this. You can see how the dust is coming away. So I'll do that all the way around, and then once I finish, I use an electric air blower to blow the air through the vents back this way. We'll see if we can take these fans out to make it better to clean. But for now, I'm just gonna blow through the top. All right, so let me do that real quick and I'll be back. I'll also clean up this one because this is kind of dusty as well. All right, see you guys in a bit. All right, well, the vents didn't seem too clogged with dust, so I ended up just scrubbing it out with the toothbrush and then blowing the fans clean. Here you can see it's a lot cleaner now. Okay, let me show you a close-up. See that? The fans are much cleaner now. They were so bad before. Okay, anyways, so the main issue with this is the SSD. I'll show a few other things just because. Okay, so let me zoom in here. This is one of the somewhat common ASUS or ASUS battery connector types. If you see this, there's this metal latch here. So you actually have to slide this metal latch up, all right? Once you slide that back and you can see the line of the white part of this connector, then you can actually go under here to disconnect the battery. I don't need to actually disconnect the battery to work on this computer because we're just replacing the SSD. Okay, so I'm going to reconnect it, and as you saw, I slid this back down. Okay, so I'm not going to be disconnecting everything else, but I just kind of wanted to show you that. All right, this is the LCD LVDS connector. If you're going to remove this, there's this little pull tab. Usually it doesn't come out easily, so I usually get my fingernail under there and then pry that up at the same time as pulling this. You want to make sure that you're just prying just barely under the edge. You don't want to pry the connector that's on the motherboard itself. Okay, we're just going to quickly look at some of the other stuff here. Actually, let's go ahead and pull the battery out. Why not? Okay, so we'll pull this battery out. This battery might also act as the LCD, sorry, not the LCD, the CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock battery, whatever you want to call it. There's lots of names for it. CMOS, yeah. All right. I don't know what CMOS stands for. If you want, you can Google that. But it saves like the BIOS settings and everything. Okay, so we're removing the screws. There's one here, and it looks like one here and one here on each corner. Okay, I don't know if there's any other ones that I missed, but for now, I just see those four. Okay, so we're gonna take those out. Let's see if we can lift the battery. Okay, very simple. So here's the battery. Battery model is right here, C41N2013. All right, C41N2013. There we go. So that's what it looks like. We're gonna set this aside. It's a little dusty. Okay, wipe that off. Okay, so now that we can see underneath, let's see if we can figure out what any of these connectors are, and not really. Okay, so we got this tiny one. This is the touchpad trackpad connector. These all have like little flip latches. You see that, just like the other connectors. Make sure that you take a look and figure out which side's which, because it's not always the same side. You see, this one's not a black connector. It's like a more like, I don't know, I don't know, whatever, peach skin color, whatever, tan. All right, then you got this. It doesn't say what that's for. You can see they label some of these, LED bar. Okay, you got this little connector, not labeled either. You got this cable connector. This is for the speaker, okay? And then this speaker has this wire going along to the other speaker here. All right, this other one, it looks like a speaker cable as well, but I'm not sure where that's going to. Interesting. All right, anyways, you got all different wireless antennas. There's this gray wire, the blue wire. All right, so you can see the little wires going along here, and they actually all connect to the motherboard here. There's the black one and white one going to this side. So the wireless card is very likely part of the motherboard. The antennas at least go into the motherboard there. I don't see how else the wireless card would connect. You got the fan connector there, another fan connector here. CPU is under here, GPU is under here. They're both soldered to the motherboard, so you can't replace them easily. Charge port is also soldered to the motherboard, so you can't replace that easily. All right, this says KB access zone, so I'm assuming this is for the keyboard. Underneath here, it says like something with an L, like light. This has a little flip latch. Okay, so we'll flip this up. Let's see if we can figure out light access. So I don't know what that is. That could either be for the keyboard or it can be for some of these, whatever these lights all around the place. But the main ones, the lights that run around here, they're attached to this bottom cover. So you can see the bottom cover. We disconnected those two little cables. There's a light in this corner and this corner, and then it lights up like these edges and then this whole bar here. Okay, so I'm assuming this is for the keyboard backlight and then this is for the keyboard, but I might not be quite right. This says KB function access. So wow, the keyboard has multiple connections here, it looks like. There's two M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD slots. All right, there's this little connector here for this, whatever this little key thingy that you put in. Most people don't know what that is, and I think they just throw it away. But that comes in the box with your laptop. Okay, and I don't know if I see anything else. There's a whole bunch of antennas here. There's two more antennas going under here. Anyways, this SSD is bad, so we're going to be replacing it. Okay, let's zoom in here. If you don't know how to replace an M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD, it's very simple. Most of them will have a screw. Sometimes they have like a little twist thing that just latches it. But this one has one screw. Pops up at an angle like that, and then you just pull it back. Oh, so the wireless card is actually removable. It's right there. So I don't know what all these other extra antennas are for. But they have a lot of extra antennas here. Sometimes they'll have like a mobile hotspot, Wi-Fi, like it uses mobile network. Okay, I don't really trust ADATA SSDs. I've seen a lot of them fail, but I mean, all the SSDs have decent warranties, so if you want to give them a try, go for it. Normally for the price I would use Crucial SSDs, but the customer wanted it as soon as possible, and the Samsung 990 EVO, which is about the speed of Crucial P3 Plus, that was available for same day shipping, and it arrived like late last night, and I'm working on it now because I was too tired. So anyways, let's go ahead and open this up. Okay, so it comes in the box like this. All right, this is what the P2 looks like, and or sorry, the 990 EVO looks like. And we're just gonna get that. We're gonna slot this one in. Okay. And let's put this box away. I know this isn't really part of the repair unboxing a Samsung SSD, but just so people see what is in there. Okay. It looks like this is like a slight heatsink. It's not a, I mean, it's just a metal plate. I don't know if this peels off or not. It doesn't seem to separate from this SSD. So the ADATA one, we're just gonna leave it alone, but they do have a heatsink here. I don't know why, but most of the SSDs with heatsinks, I see them fail. I don't know if it's because it pushes them harder or what's going on. But I think what it is maybe there's a temperature controller or sensor in the controller itself, but not in the memory. And I feel like when the heatsink goes across, because it heats everything the same, then the memory ends up overheating instead of the controller just taking all the heat. I don't know if that's the case, but that's my theory on why I keep seeing these SSDs fail. Also, avoid the Intel Optane stuff. Those things are garbage, and I see them fail all the time. It's kind of like the old hybrid hard drive SSDs. In the past, those things failed all the time. And yeah, I think it's because if the computer crashes with it doing something, then it ends up getting screwed up really bad. Anyways, there's two slots for RAM here, but these things are kind of taped down on the RAM, kind of annoying. Okay, so if you want to take the RAM out, you do have to kind of peel this stuff. I don't know if this is the original. I don't know if somebody upgraded this before, because usually I don't see ADATA or this Mushkin RAM as what do you call OEM? I usually don't see them put that. Usually this is like aftermarket consumer, but here you can see Mushkin Essentials. Okay, This is PC4 3200 RAM, so you should be fine with any PC4 3200 RAM. Looks like they put two 32 gig sticks, so I guess they have 64 gigs total. But again, I don't know if this is what came with their computer. They brought it to me because they were having issues with their computer booting, and I determined that it's a faulty SSD. I couldn't even read their data, and then while I was trying to decrypt it, it just crashed. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all there is to show in here. All right, it looks like the fan probably goes underneath, so I don't think you can just undo the screws and take the thing out. Yeah, you have to actually take the whole heatsink out to get the fan out. Sorry, I'm like zoomed in way too much, so you can't tell what's going on. But let's move this back in, get a thumbnail again, maybe. Come on, zoom too much, just a tiny bit. There we go. Okay, I think that should be good for a thumbnail. And then we're gonna reassemble this thing. So reassembly should be pretty simple. We do obviously have to put the battery back in first, okay? So the battery, you just drop it into place, make sure it lines up with the screw mounts and those little raised plastic mounts, okay? We'll get the screws back in. All right. And the RAM you can either upgrade or replace if for some reason your computer is having some issues. Usually if RAM is bad, your computer will blue screen a lot, or not always a lot, but it'll blue screen, and the blue screen error will constantly change. The reason for that is the RAM, like the way a computer works is when it boots, it's moving stuff from the hard drive or SSD onto the RAM, and it runs from there. And then when it needs to access data, it will go back to the hard drive or SSD. So that's why when your computer crashes, it needs to dump the stuff from the RAM or the memory to the hard drive or SSD. Because if power gets cut, the RAM just gets wiped off. So that's why this is to protect the data on the drive, because if you were running from the drive and the computer crashed while it was mid whatever it's doing, then all the data on the drive will become corrupt. Instead, it will work on here, and then when there's any like main like hard changes, that's when it moves stuff to the drive. That's how the computers work, and that's why they have the RAM. Also, the RAM is a much faster memory than what's on like SSDs and stuff, but again, like it doesn't store. If the thing loses power, it loses all that stuff that's on there. Anyways, let's go ahead and reconnect the battery, okay? So let's go ahead and zoom in here. Okay, we'll line this up, push that down, and then slide that latch back over. Okay, now we got to get those little cables back in, okay? So you got to line everything up. Let's zoom out a little bit. This is going to be tricky because I only can do, let's see, we can do one at a time. So there's this one cable here, okay? The tricky part is it curls over like this, so I don't know, hopefully you guys can see. So you get this in like that, okay? Hold that cable into place while you're holding it in, then you slide your finger over and latch that down. All right, there we go. There's the first one. Now we'll go over to this side and we'll do the same thing and get that cable in. This one's kind of folded differently. Okay, get that cable in. Use the blue portion to help pull it, right? The blue plasticky portion. And then again, slide your fingernail over or finger, latch it down, right? Then we just, let me zoom out here. Then we just drop this cover back on top, okay? And obviously you just click everything down. So just go all the way around, okay? Make sure these clips go in. I don't know if you can see here. So clip that and just work your way around. Make sure all the clips go back down. There we go. All right, make sure all these clips in the back are in. It looks good. Okay, now let's just get all the screws back in, and then we're going to install Windows 11 back onto it. So I don't like to do the Windows, what do you call, like Microsoft account install. I like to do a local account instead because I don't want it to sync stuff. The fact that the computers sync all these settings and things kind of scares me, because if a virus or whatever were to mess with your settings, pretty much Microsoft is going to go, oh, okay, let's sync all of that over to your account, and the next time you log in, it's going to put that all back on your computer, which to me, that's very scary. Why would you want it to do that? I mean, if you use it normally, then yes, it's pretty nice. If something happens, your data, your settings will be brought back over, but in the event that something goes wrong, then you're screwed because it'll keep pulling that back. And the thing is, some people, they don't know, and even if you put a local account, Microsoft will keep telling you to sign back in, and then people don't know, they sign back in and it pulls that virus or whatever garbage settings that got changed, and then their computer will keep getting that infection over and over again. It's not a good idea. It's good if they have like backup where it kind of can remember back to a certain date or time, and then it saves multiple copies. Then okay, that's good, because you need a fail-safe backup. You need one that's like a year older or something. But the problem is, even some viruses now, they put like some weird timers on their thing, and it will like wait, it'll delay the reaction, so you won't know there's that virus until it's too late. And then that's the problem, like how far back do you back up, because they can set it back further and further and you won't know, right? So it's makes it very difficult. Anyways, we'll get all these screws back in, and then we'll boot from the Windows 11 USB and get Windows back installed on here. So we'll flip this over, okay? And the way you boot from this, okay, as far as I know, I don't think ASUS has a quick like boot option, like to boot temporary devices. Okay, so plug in my USB. So what I have to do is I press F2 or delete. Okay, I'm not sure exactly which. Usually it's either or. You can press F2 or delete, and either one will work. So we'll just keep pressing. I hope it's going to work, because earlier when it was doing the other thing, the screen just went blank on its own, and I'm wondering if that's what's going on. The screen is just staying black now. But let's see. I'm starting to think there's some other weird hardware issue that's not that's not the SSD, and then it's just part of the issue that's going on. Oh, nope, there we go. It was just slow. Oh, I know why it was slow. Okay, there's no CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock battery, okay? So it actually uses the main battery as the BIOS battery. I hate that on the new computers. They do that. HP does that, Dell does that, and ASUS does that. I think a lot of the other ones, Lenovo and other, they all started doing this. And when you disconnect the battery, that can cause some issues. One thing I don't know if I mentioned for this model, if you are going to mess with the LCD LVDS connector, that after disconnecting the battery, you want to open the laptop and press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds to drain any residual power. Hopefully no one destroyed their LCD, LVDS, backlight circuit or whatever doing that, like just trying to pull that cable out. You do want to press and hold the power button. If you pull the cable straight up, usually you're okay, but sometimes you pull it and it kind of like moves side to side and it might short some pins. So that's why I always, if I disconnect the battery, I press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds if I'm messing with that cable. SSD, RAM, you don't need to worry, but that component, you definitely need to worry for that. Okay, anyways, you can see we got this up. Now it says press F8 to go to the boot menu. So I'll press F8. I see my SanDisk Cruiser Fit. We'll go to that, and it should now boot to the Windows 11. One thing, just to make sure I was right about the BIOS thing, I'm going to turn it off real quick, okay? And let's turn it back on, and let's see. It should start up way faster this time. So I'm pressing F2 delete. Okay, and there you go. See, it's much faster. Okay, so I was right. The battery is acting as the CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock thing. And yeah, now let's go ahead and do the Windows install. I'm going to show you how you can do the Windows install and bypass the Microsoft setup if you want to do that. Okay, I actually have a separate video specifically for showing that, but I might as well show it on here. This is with the latest Windows 11 USB installer, so the layout of it looks different. it used to look the same as the Windows 10 installer, but now it looks like this. You'll see, it looks very different. So if this looks different than what you have, just keep in mind it's because it's probably the latest one. And I recommend actually you create the latest USB and then install Windows. You can do that with any computer. Just Google Windows 11 USB creator and Microsoft has a utility to do it. Anyways, you see this. Okay, we're just going to go next. We'll leave all the stuff English. We'll leave the keyboard US. And we're going to install Windows 11. So I agree, everything will be deleted, including files, apps, and settings. Okay, there's nothing on this SSD. We'll go next. It's going to get a few things ready. It's going to continue with this process, okay? And then once it does that, it's going to like start copying the files over and installing. So we'll accept here, okay? Please wait again. This is a somewhat long process. It's searching for the drives. The one thing I noticed now with the new installer, it also shows your USB, which I don't know why, because it's not necessary here. But here's the unallocated space. If you're installing on an old drive and you're going to wipe everything out, I'll usually go to every partition and delete each partition so that it just shows one unallocated disk space on the disk number. All right, again, this is my USB, so we're going to ignore that. You can tell it's 7.5 gigs. All right, and then this is the 1.8 terabyte, or it's supposed to be 2 terabytes, but once it formats, it gets smaller. So we're just going to go next on the unallocated disk 0. Okay. And it's going to continue. So here it says install Windows 11 home, keep nothing, and we'll just install. All right, so we'll wait for this installation to finish, and then we'll be back because this process can take anywhere from about 5 to 20 minutes. Should be relatively fast. Mainly it's pulling data from the USB to install the OS. So yeah, all right, we'll let this run a bit and we'll be back. All right, so the installation part finished and the screen just went blank. So let's see, it should be restarting and then hopefully it will start the Windows thing. All right, give it a little bit, be patient. Sometimes people aren't patient, the screen goes black and then they force shut it off and that causes problems. You don't want to do that, all right? Give it some time. So you can see this is the hard drive activity light, I guess. Okay, it went bigger, that means Windows is going. And now it's saying installing, keep your computer on. So it's still doing stuff, all right? So we'll let this continue and then we'll be back when it's up and running again. All right, see you guys again in a bit. All right, so it finished that process. Next to, let me show you what happens if you don't turn off this feature. So we're gonna go next, or yes, skip. And here you can see it's saying, oh, we have some issue connecting to the internet and you can't do anything. You see, this is stupid. Microsoft requires you to have internet to use your computer. That makes no sense. So what we're gonna do to bypass this, we're gonna press, let me show you here. Okay, press and hold the shift key, then press F10. If that doesn't work, you might have to push function and F10, but it did work. So here you can see this pops up. And what we're going to type in here, we're going to type in, you don't need to do uppercase or lowercase, but OOBE. Oops, sorry. You have to click on it because it still thinks this is the active window. So make sure to click this and then OOBE backslash, sorry if you can't see what I'm doing, backslash, okay, bypass NRO. So like that, OOBE backslash bypass NRO, okay, no spaces. And then just press enter, your computer will restart. You can see it says just a moment. Okay, and then after this finishes, it's gonna start up again and you're gonna be like, I don't see any difference. But let me show you. Once we get past all this BS, okay, Microsoft likes to try and force everyone to do stuff you don't want to. Okay, here you go, just wait. Windows is starting again. Okay, all right, so same thing, yes. Yes, skip. Now we're on this network thing and we have this I don't have internet option. So what I do, I push shift tab, or you can just click it. You can see it highlighted that. We'll press enter for I don't have internet. And then it's gonna be like, are you sure? Oh, this time they don't do it anymore. It used to say, are you sure if you don't put internet, then you're gonna be missing out on some security features and this and blah, blah, blah if you don't use your Microsoft account. But now it lets you use any name you want. and then you can continue from there. So that's pretty much it. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. Again, if it did, like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their device as well. And if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Again, if you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well. And I also have another channel called It's Been Reviewed and More. If you can subscribe to that one, it would really help me out. I need to get to 1,000 subscribers, but the more the better. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Let's drop this. Bye.